Here to debate this is Fox News contributor and Washington Examiner contributor Lisa Booth and Fox News contributor Richard Fowler. Good morning to both of you.
Hi, Ainsley.
Hi. All right, Lisa, I'll start with you. President Trump says, you know, the media they're hyperventilating over all of this. He says, but the big issue is these leaks. What's your opinion?
No, I would agree with him. Look, the only crime that we know that has taken place is this illegal leak of information. There's not been anything connecting President Trump to anything nefarious in relation to Russia. It was actually the New York Times back in October that reported about the FBI and the fact that they had been investigating potential ties and they were unable to find anything. It's also the New York Times who ran a story about the unsubstantiated dossier, but then wrote a story about somehow how this unverified report was going to hurt President Trump. And yet we've seen the left and the media up in arms almost to the point of craziness. I mean, Thomas Friedman of the New York Times has said that, you know, there was 9/11 and now there was November 8th. You have people like Dan Rather saying that this is worse than Watergate, yet there's no information there. There's no credible information there pointing to any wrongdoing. So, and you've got Elizabeth Warren tweeting that there was a series of cyber attacks from Russia on our election. No, there wasn't. That's a load of crap. You know, I mean, it's just not true. So, I mean, there's just this insanity that is happening right now in the country, and it's really wrong.
Richard, what is your response? Because Lisa's right. Nothing here is illegal that is happening between President Trump and Russia.
Here's what we know is true. General Flynn resigned. Trump accepted his resignation because there was something went wrong. We don't know what it is, and I think
he misled the vice president. He didn't tell the truth to the vice president.
Right, but he also engaged in conversations with Russia. But
that's not illegal. Of course,
but no, I'm not saying that's illegal or not illegal. And this is here's some advice for President Trump. Right, this leak, drip, drip is never a good thing. We learned it from the Hillary Clinton campaign. So I would advise for President Trump to release whatever transcript existed between Flynn and the Russians to the Intelligence Committee, classified, and let Congress say there's nothing here and move on. President Trump needs political capital to get his tax plan done, to get transportation reform done, to get his infrastructure bill done, and this is tapping away at that political capital. He's got to stop this drip, drip, drip. Instead of being focused on fake news, he should be focused on getting leakers to stop leaking in his administration.
All right, well, the mainstream media is so focused on this. And if you listen to Congressman Steve King, he says, where was all this concern when Hillary Clinton was doing far worse? Listen to what he said.
Someone who either was embedded within the FBI or another component of the intelligence community that willfully leaked this to the New York Times and the Washington Post. And now we have a nation of leftists that are hyperventilating over what actually now are rumors, because we don't have the transcript of those telephone calls. We don't have a single phrase we know with confidence is accurately quoted that was transmitted.
Lisa, what's your response?
Yeah, or where was the outrage over Benghazi or Fast and Furious or the IRS targeting conservatives or President Obama telling Russia that he had more flexibility after the election? And I disagree with Richard in the sense of conversations with foreign leaders need to stay private. And there's been already leaks regarding with President Trump and foreign leaders that have been proven to be untrue. You've got the spokesperson for Mexico's president, saying that there was no threat, even though it was reported that somehow President Trump made a threat against the president of Mexico. You also have Prime Minister Turnbull saying that President Trump never hung up on him, even though it was reported that he hung up on him. You know, so that's a big problem for these private conversations to be made public. And you know, so I think that is a concern. So I disagree with Richard in the sense that these conversations that are supposed to be private, somehow that they should be made public. There needs to be able to have that level of trust in these conversations
Richard,
that are happening.
Does that concern you, the leak?
Well, I think the leaks are concerning, right? And that's on Donald Trump's leadership to make sure these leaks stop. But I'm not saying these things should be released to the public. I'm saying they should be released to the Intelligence Committee, classified, so our elected leaders can look over these transcripts and say there is or there isn't wrongdoing. If President Trump doesn't do that, the media is going to continue to say that there is smoke here, so there's got to be a fire. Donald Trump can put this fire out very easily. Release the transcripts to the Senate, release the transcripts to the House, let our elected leaders on the Intelligence Committee look over them, and move on. If he continues to say fake news and blah, 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 which is normal talking points, we'll continue talking about it, and we shouldn't be.
Lisa, Richard, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Ainsley.
Thank you.
You're welcome.